Sorry, I just had to yawn. Uh, she puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your gut would be boringly ordinary. Not like this bunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact is what delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled it back even physically as Rin's eyes wide in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackles in there. Still partially in shock, but recognized there's need to reply something. I spit out the first thing I could think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem, arrhythmia. I said it. Well, I blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. Just, I collect people in person with you. You know, the kind of problem would have really been great. Collect people. People with different problems. Huh. So you just, like, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, when it resumes for lunch and the conversation dies away, I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as natural part of introduction that's expected of me? Hi, I'm Miss Al. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl is just an unnatural interesting in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Mish's list, and chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her look very thin and scrawny. She's not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, one flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadow make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within the deep walls. She moves her feet almost deftly, as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how the sight can discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Mish's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable. So I try to force some conversation out of this girl. So do you always eat alone and this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors, maybe you're my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof. She's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh. And that's all I can say. Both of us fall silent again, and Ren forks the last bit of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check it with Mish's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to say. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyways, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. Eh, I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looked serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Suzuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this good enough to warrant that much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then, Mademoiselle. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feel you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinked a couple of times, and I can't figure out why. A pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Sal. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whispered to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approach despite the complete empty hallway. Somehow she had gone to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy, it briefly reminded me of Kenji's nutty theory about global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune standing slightly behind Misha, looking aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to carelessly peek past me even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good to Chad. She wags her fingers at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry. I got all the things here. We're just going to bring them. I think you were here. You were up to some mischief, Chad. Was it? Who was in there with you? I wonder. Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to face the school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stared at Rin, frozen in place, apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulder, from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths and adjusts her glasses, slams the door shut, turning sign furiously at Misha. Oh god, maybe she did blow up, but I just can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me, as if it's somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello? Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door. It takes a few wide blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door and find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello? Miss Tezuka, what do you think you're doing? You're absolutely not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder to point at Rin and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold starts putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns To unsatisfied, you frowned. Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It will be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Ren frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating students' council duel. How rude. It's true though, I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to an unforeseen future. I want to ask what project she has, and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? No way. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, and the paint can following, since that's the little choice for either of us. It's halfway quiet and empty now, with Shizune and Misha gone, so we two leave towards the stairwell, and the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another, because a thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast. I can't figure it out which. I'm gonna be right back again. That's right. Oh, hi. 2 flights of stairs below Truffles appear in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medication. Since you have been that long on your current medication, there might be some unexpected side effects which might require adjusting your dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but I want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop that can on the floor before answering. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, and doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very nightly picnic. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you had taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but this way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I shouldn't be running my ass off. I should have been running my ass off the track since the very first day. Yeah, people spy on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of the bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. Sal, you smartass. Smartass? The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Suzuka, will you give us a second? The nurse grabbed me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you that to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you were still on the first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that the habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He just studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation. See you around. He leaves it with a wave of his hand and no answer. I walk to Rin, who has been waiting and idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixture in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medication for your heavy heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's none of her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too. Talking about that kind of thing in public. It's not Rin's fault, is it? Look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Sigh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like this is some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're from my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer. She neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about it, having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leans us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has a circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall made of the same kind of brick as the building itself has been covered with some sort of a painting. Most of it's still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles in the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet, because I couldn't get in the moon yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. It was Sunday morning. I have to work on it. The guests from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. reaches better and it's faster too. She goes off on a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever or whatever of it there actually is to demonstrate, even though I got to the point already. Sorry about that, I just had to check something. She goes on a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever of it there actually is to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton on her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. The girl doesn't notice my dreary feeling, of course, the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best just to start from the top. So this is your project. You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that it would make more sense. I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. Maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she can be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us have anything to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in the dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat. Like some people are no substance, no meat, where there should be some. I knew a few girls who... Okay, I get it. But I can really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have time. I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at the saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it gets too dark. I want to get a halogen lamp, like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quite quick to recruit my help, as was she soon. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. That's a good... yeah. I was gonna say something about the pair of hands, but I think that's enough. Why not? I'm not sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems, like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe? No, not that I know of. I get it. The heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. So she sits on an empty wooden bucket and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into the shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paint flows lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone-like hue. Rin sets to work every now and then asks me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be exact tone that this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she's satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of the green. I crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green, this green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea, you're the artist here. And a hint of smile appears in the corner of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I got an idea. Add more white. With the exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but you can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like that, the changes to seasons, or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on plastered wall feels like magic. I spent the moments I have between mixing paints crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind at the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, subtly moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile of her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us say a word for the longest time. And even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird import-to code words for various paintings and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breathe in sound. Ooh, it's night. We stay there late in the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Is that it? Oh, that is it. Yes, that's the end of that day. Should I end it here? I think I might. So, I hope you enjoyed this part, this section, I guess. I'll see you, session, not section. And I'll see you, next time. Bye.